ITC Kakatiyala Indian Air Force Industry Seminar Mantri KTR మాట్లాడుతున్నారు లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
Explained by Satish, as was explained by the speakers prior to me. I think Hyderabad as a city has a lot of strengths. We all know that about 70 years ago, when we got our independence in 1947, and especially in the early days of independence, when the Indian government, the then Indian government, started looking around for opportunities for investing in defense labs, investing in strategic locations, Hyderabad was a natural choice. It's an extremely safe location, as you all know. And at that point in time, when there were no intercontinental ballistic missiles from the hostile neighbors, from the external aggression, China, Pakistan, and all the hostile other neighbors that we then had, I think Hyderabad was a natural choice for a lot of reasons. Firstly, because of the distance. Secondly, in fact, because of the fact that it is shielded from all natural forces. No cyclones, no typhoons. We are seismically in one of the most stable locations in the world. It's a very, very safe location, so no earthquakes that way as well. And very conducive weather conditions and wonderful, talented manpower and skills. And the fact that Hyderabad, in fact, I keep telling this to a lot of friends from the industry as well. Hyderabad, a lot of people ask me when I visit overseas, and when I try to promote industry and when I pitch in for investments, a lot of people ask me, where is Hyderabad? I keep telling them, it's neither south of India nor north of India. In fact, it's where the south of India meets the north of India. It's the point of confluence where people of all cultures, people of all languages, people of all religions congregate and make this a melting pot, a veritable melting pot within our country, India. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Indian Air Force, in fact, for taking the initiative and actually collaborating with the industry. We as a government, in fact, as a state government, which has assumed office about 3 years ago, have started doing some things which kind of also dovetail nicely into the plans that you're making. Satish is aware of this initiative called RICH. Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad is an initiative of Government of Telangana, which focuses on bringing about a confluence of the requirements of our industry, and which also tries to bring about some applied research happening at our research institutions in Hyderabad. As was mentioned by Satish Reddy Garu, lot of defense labs in India, in fact, some of the biggest missile programs in India happen out of Hyderabad and the wonderful defense labs we have here. Not only defense labs, but we also have a large number of other scientific institutions of higher learning, like CCMB, like IICT, and there are a lot of other institutions as well, like NGRI, the Survey of India, National Institute of Nutrition, etc., etc. Now, the biggest challenge has been, the biggest challenge for any government, or in fact, if you look at it even from the societal perspective, a lot of the research that happens in these institutions obviously is classified. It cannot be shared with the mainstream of the population. But at the same time, a lot of the research that also happens here happens to be focused excessively on academic-oriented kind of journals and academic-oriented kind of work. A lot of the research that happens in these institutions, in fact, today cannot be put into mainstream applied research kind of category. So I'm delighted that you actually are focusing on working more with MSMEs, on working more closely, in fact, with the industry here. And I'm delighted that this is actually taking shape. In fact, as some of you may be aware, Hyderabad and the MSMEs here have contributed significantly to the expanding defense and aerospace ecosystem and avionics ecosystem in our country. In fact, when India sent MOM, the Mars Orbiter mission, through ISRO, more than 30% of the components were manufactured by the MSME sector in Hyderabad. So that goes to show you the kind of strength there is, which is inherent to the Hyderabad MSME ecosystem right here. I would also like to point out, especially to the Indian Air Force officers here, the French nuclear submarine, Scorpion, also procures a lot of its spare parts from here, a lot of its ingredients from here, from the Hyderabad ecosystem. And as was pointed out by Satish Reddy Garu, VEM, in fact, the last time I was at Aero India in Bangalore, I was delighted to notice and I was delighted to actually hear so many compliments to some of the Hyderabad homegrown companies like VEM. In fact, VEM, according to an industry insider, could be considered the next Lockheed Martin, is what I was told. So I'm delighted that they are in Hyderabad. I'm delighted that more and more Indian companies are actually being noticed, are actually being talked about, are actually being taken very, very seriously. And I'm delighted also that with all the kind of defense PSUs and DRDO labs, we have BEL, BDL, BHEL, Anurag, ARCI, the ordnance factories here, Midhani, HAL, they're all located in close proximity. And we also have a lot of local firms, as I mentioned, VEM, Astro Microwave, Zen Technologies, Zeta Tech, SEC. They are all leading suppliers to defense forces, not only in India, but also they have started working with several other organizations across the world. Now, we are also delighted that large number of tech companies, technology companies, also have made Hyderabad their home. The reason why I mentioned technology today on this forum is because we all understand the importance of technology, even when it comes to avionics, or even when it comes to all the technologies that are currently deployed by the defense forces in India and across the world as well. In fact, Hyderabad today and the new government in Telangana has started focusing on disruption in this space as well. In fact, we've built India's largest technology incubator called T-Hub, and I strongly urge and request Sanjay Sharma ji and the rest of Indian Air Force team and all the air marshals also sitting here to pay a visit to T-Hub, because this is an exciting space. T-Hub is India's largest technology incubator, where what the government has done essentially is created a platform for Indian youngsters to come in, dabble in innovation, try and experiment, because you all know that as a culture, as a society, we Indians are not very good at encouraging innovation. हम यही चाहते हैं हमारे बच्चों से कि जब वो पढ़ने लग जाते हैं, पढ़ना शुरू कर देते हैं, we kind of push them, into one or two of the three mainstream, much sought after jobs like becoming a doctor or becoming an engineer. Very rarely, I think, even the defense forces also, but very rarely that is. But we don't really encourage innovation among our children. We don't really say to our kid, if he's growing up and he or she says, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to actually do something on my own, we typically are a little averse to taking a risk. But the world is changing. If you look around, especially in the West, we have all these, young, inspirational entrepreneurs who've come up, who've become billionaires by sheer virtue of their technical innovation skills and their brilliance. And today, they've become the role models for youngsters across the world. So young Indians today are wanting wings for their aspirations. And that's exactly what government of Telangana has done. We've given them a platform. We have created a platform for these young Indians. We've made sure that if they have an idea, they can walk in with an idea and they can walk out with a product. In fact, we've given them this platform where anybody can come in, start working on an idea. The success rate is only 5% across the world in startups. But nevertheless, one successful startup can in fact create large-scale employment, can create wonderful applications that can be used across the world. The reason why I mentioned startups, innovation, disruption is because I think all legacy industries across the world, all industries which have built their processes on legacy systems are looking for a revamp. And I'm pretty sure that defense, aerospace, avionics can certainly invite innovation, can certainly, I'm sure, in their own fashion, in your own gambit, can certainly invite more and more youngsters. You can certainly encourage more and more youngsters to work with you. In fact, when Honorable Raksha Mantri Manohar Parrikar was in charge, and when he visited Hyderabad the last time, he actually had visited T-Hub as well. And then we in fact started talking about a defense incubator, an incubator focused on military avionics, electronics in the defense space. We in fact have started making plans toward that also. I request the help of Satish Reddy Garu, because we have a lot of defense labs here. We have a lot of wonderful researchers and people with a lot of eminence. But the fact of the matter is, I think we need to go that extra mile in today's world, where we need to start working on more and more innovation happening. I'm pretty sure RCI is doing its bit, DRDL is doing its bit, and all the wonderful organizations in Hyderabad are already at it. But I think a convergence of all these ideas, bringing about a common platform and not working in silos without talking to each other, is possibly what really will augur well for the avionics space as well. And as you all may be knowing, Hyderabad is also going to host the India Aviation Show next March. In fact, Aero India is something that happens in Bangalore every 2 years, and Hyderabad will be the host in March, the Begumpet Airport, the erstwhile domestic airport of Hyderabad, will be hosting the India Aviation Show in March 2018. And as you also may be knowing, Hyderabad has a large number of airstrips. Besides the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Shamshabad, we also have 5 other airstrips. And we also have 3, unlike any other city in India today, we have 3 aerospace parks. In fact, some of you may be surprised to know this. I'm pretty sure the Indian Air Force guys know this, but the rest of the audience may be a little surprised. American President Donald Trump's helicopter cabin today is also manufactured in Hyderabad. Sikorsky is the name of the company, and they manufacture it right here in a joint venture with Tata Advanced Systems Limited. And Tata Advanced Systems Limited is a premier aerospace company whose 98% of whose operations are right here in our own city. We also have Lockheed Martin operating out of here. We have Ruag, we have Dornier, we have Pratt & Whitney, we have Boeing, in fact, manufacturing Apache helicopter fuselage. We have one aerospace park in Adibutla, the Tatas being the anchor. We also have a GMR aerospace park, and we also have another aerospace park very close by as well. So we have 3 aerospace parks, we have 5 airstrips which can be put to use, and we are inviting the industry to work closely with us. And aerospace and defense is one of our key sectors in Government of Telangana. We are more than happy to collaborate very, very strongly with Ministry of Defense. We are very keen to also find out more about the offset policies that they've come out with, and we are also very keen, in fact, to engage with the industry and work more closely in days to come with foreign direct investment opening up in a big way, with India really throwing its gates open. I think while we welcome foreign direct investment, at the same time, I think to Indianize and indigenize and encourage our MSME sector, our Indian industry is of paramount importance to both the state government and Government of India. Make in India is a program that Government of India has launched under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Likewise, the Government of Telangana has launched its own program, dovetailing our program into the Make in India program called Make in Telangana. And we are looking for investments in aerospace, defense electronics, and I'm happy to share this with you. We've also been ranked number 1 in India on the ease of doing business. And there is a reason why we've been ranked number 1. The reason being, when we started as a new state about 3 years ago, we've had the luxury to start off with a clean slate. A lot of times when you start off with a clean slate, you have the luxury of formulating new policies, benchmarking yourself against the best in the world, and ensuring that you imbibe the best practices from across the world. So today Telangana allows, unlike anywhere else in India, unlike any other state in India, a process called self-certification is allowed. For example, you are an entrepreneur, you want to start an enterprise in Telangana and you own a piece of land. You do not have to talk to the government. You can start on day 1, you can hit the ground running. This is unlike any other policy anywhere in India. Number 2, we allow for what is called as a time-bound clearance in 15 days, a single window clearance in 15 days. I'm sure those of you who've experienced government, those of you who've worked with government in the past, there is a standard joke which goes around, there is always multiple windows behind the single window. But in our case, that is not so. That is not true. Reason being, by statute, by a legislation we passed in our legislature, we promise clearances in 15 days. And if you don't deliver on the 15-day promise, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval. It's an approval by default. This is unlike any other government in India, unlike any other state in India, and I'm happy to share with you. This is a policy that not only looks pretty on paper. In fact, it's a policy that has started working and delivering results. We gave more than 4,000 clearances. We gave clearances to more than 4,000 projects whose combined investment worth is more than 70,000 crores and have created more than 200,000 jobs. And we are delighted that this is just the beginning. And we are going to go from strength to strength through what is called as the TS iPass. So with a progressive policy, wonderful political stability, and a fast growing state, in fact we are growing at double the rate of India. India is growing at 8 to 9%, Telangana is growing at 16 to 17%. So a very proactive government, progressive policies, a conducive atmosphere, an international city which has all the international trappings like Hyderabad, with wonderful infrastructure, with all the amenities, with the support of the Air Force and the local industry, can certainly do wonders. And I do hope these day-long deliberations of yours will throw more light, will shed more light on what the government needs to be doing to stimulate, to give further impetus to this sector, which is extremely important for our country, not only our state. And I do hope that Telangana will definitely play a bigger role in days to come in the military avionics place. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Truly delighted and truly privileged to be here. Have a very good day.
Thank you very much, the Honourable Minister. It's a great privilege and it's a great encouragement for the Air Force and the services to see such a dynamic young leader who is so informed, well informed about the current situation, and he's got some wonderful plans in the future. And I'm sure after deliberations, as he mentioned, after the day, there will be a lot of convergence of ideas and we will come out to an action plan.